Welcome, Panther Nation and football fans, to another edition of Groundin and Prowlin. I am Misterceelow, talking all things Carolina Panthers, from the off-season to the draft, to the preseason to the regular season, and finally to the postseason and to the Super Bowl. Let the growling begin. Welcome back, Panther fans. I appreciate you guys joining us on the platform for another edition. Make sure if you are first-time watchers, you go and hit that like button or dislike button, and make sure you subscribe to us. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, or would like to add something to the show, or like for us to do a certain content, go to Growlin and Poundin, not Prowlin. We got to change that. It was 60 days. At our Facebook. And make sure you go to Growlin and Prowlin, the group, and check out the, which also features a poll for tonight's subject matter, which is which receiver will have the best season in 2023. Also, go to my Instagram page at Misterceelow. And for any one that would like to follow us and check out what we have going on, maybe comment on or question certain things that we discuss on here. But as you know, let's get into it. We're having a discussion after me and a couple of other individuals that I associate with, and we had a thought process of, does Bryce Young have enough weapons? And I'm of the essence to believe he does. And I think he has some very, very good weapons. As we're going to go through and we're going to individually check those out. But we have 6 of these, listed on our Facebook page in the poll. Currently, Terrace Marshall is leading, but let's get in. I'm sorry, where are my manners? We have a new subscriber today, and I want to give him a shout out. Give Reek a shout out. And thank you so much for sharing the channel as well as the group that we are in, and we're so grateful. As we continue to grow, there are going to be things that we're going to try to do. Sorry to cut the monologue off, but got to do a little bit of laundry. But we're going to get that Bryce Young jersey in a couple of weeks, and it's going to go right behind me. And for the first 100 subscribers on our YouTube, we will put your names in a hat or a helmet, and we're going to have a drawing to see who is going to get that, and we will send that out. Without further ado, let's continue on in the monologue. We were talking about the 6 guys that are going to be vying for just really 3 spots. That would be newly acquired DJ Chark, the third-year guy Terrace Marshall out of LSU, the rookie Jonathan Mingo, Laviska Shenault, who was acquired in trade last year, showed some flashes. Shawn Smith, the 6th-round pick out of South Carolina, whom we've been waiting to kind of pull his way through. If I recall correctly, his second. He'll be coming up on his 3rd year, much like Terrace Marshall. And then there's the veteran Adam Thielen, whom is more than likely going to be the Yoda of this group. The master that has done so many things, but is going to bring a lot of well-roundedness, veteran leadership to guys like, hopefully to guys like Terrace Marshall, DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, and possibly Shawn Smith, with Jonathan Mingo in the wings looking along, hopefully being able to get his feet wet early on. But with his skill set, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't. But I think the biggest concern for a lot of people were when we drafted initially Bryce Young was whether or not we were going to have the same type of weapons that he had at Alabama to be able to substantiate what he was capable of doing at that level, at the level he was, at that Heisman level he did at Alabama. Well, I firmly believe that the GM has done a phenomenal, Scott Fitter has done a phenomenal job at putting this roster together. Now, he can't take credit for Terrace Marshall or or Shawn Smith, or even well, yeah, he can take credit for Laviska Shenault because Matt Rule was gone by then. But those two guys he can't take much credit for. But these guys haven't performed well, and we'll get into that as we go down the list. But as I said, there's a poll on our Facebook page, and I would love for you guys to really give your opinions on it. And what I want to do is later on is give the results in another video as to what occurred on these polls. But let's start today with one DJ Chark. Now, as you all know, DJ Chark started his career in Jacksonville. He wasn't initially the guy. And he slowly worked his way into a portal with a couple of the quarterbacks that were there. And obviously, you look at his numbers, and the season that sticks out to me is the 2019 season, where he had 118 targets and 73 receptions for over 1,000 yards. And then he had 8 touchdowns, but then that kind of subsided off when everybody figured him out. That would have been his second year. He was 23, and really it never got much better. The closest it came would have been 2020 when he had 53 receptions off of 93 targets for 706 yards and 5 scores. It never got much better than 2019. And honestly, what I see about DJ Chark is he's a guy that when no one really recognized this guy or put him in a spot, he was a guy that could burn you up. But he's a really great receiver. He's 6'4", 198 pounds, and is a real tough deal when you're dealing with just single out corners and you're just one-on-one, and which is probably going to be. He's not going to see a lot of that until you get guys like Jonathan Mingo who break out and possibly Laviska Shenault, possibly maybe Terrace Marshall can make that breakout. He had some pretty good games last season, but we're not talking about him right now. But DJ Chark is that difference maker. He only had 30 catches last year and 3 scores, but he was working through an injury all of last year trying to acclimate himself to what the Lions did. But you could see he was really impressive when he got on the field. He's a specimen of a guy. He's not very big, but he's tall. I will honestly say is a strength of this Carolina Panthers wide receiving core is it's very, very tall and long. And that's going to be a work to Bryce's advantage because he's going to be able to miss throws high. And these guys are going to be able to get them. Even Adam Thielen, he's 6'2", and we'll talk about that in more detail later. But we look at DJ Chark, and for his career, he has 177 receptions for 25, 44, and 18 scores. The 18 scores, I think, is what's the most impressive about it. Even though he has had his ups and downs with injuries. Especially since 2021, he had that, I think it was a broken ankle if I remember correctly, and his reception percentage is not overly impressive. I think the best season we look here was 2019, the year he caught 73 balls. He had a 61, almost 62% catch ratio. That's not very good. You want to be up around that 70 to 80. When you throw a ball there, that ball's got a high tendency of being caught. And with DJ Chark, that's it's hit or miss. And so, I think he brings a tremendous upside because you look where this team is headed. And I think what's going to happen is we are going to have the right kind of personnel, and I think Thomas Brown, our offensive coordinator, is going to have to do some shaking and really doing a lot of shaking and Xing and out and making the right kind of moves to make this really work, especially using Frank Wright's expertise to really level this out and hopefully make this into a situation where we can truly allow him to flourish, because DJ Chark is a big play. You know, that 2019, I know people are going to say, well, like you said, he wasn't the number one option in a lot of defenses' minds. Well, he's going to be the number one guy to start with, but it's going to be up to Bryce Young being that point guard type quarterback to get other guys involved and make the other guys threats. But there are other guys on this roster that are threats, and I think Scott Fitterer, he deserves some credit for putting this roster together. But let's look at the guy who showed a few flashes and made probably the catch of the year. It was a highlight last year, in Terrace Marshall Jr. 6'2", 200 pounds, a good sized guy. Another guy that's over 6 foot tall, 6'2", excuse me. Has not had that season yet, but he's had moments or flashes of greatness. Let's look at it. 2021 and 2022. You look at his numbers, you just kind of go, has not crossed the 500-yard reception, 500 yards in receiving yet. He's caught one touchdown. And it just seems like it has not been put together yet. That's what it looks like. It just looks like one of those, he just hasn't put it together. And then that's coupled with bad quarterback play. Probably, we look at last year, what he was able to accomplish. He had, in that Atlanta 37-34 loss, he had 4 catches for 87 yards and had a long of 39. And we look back at that Baltimore game, he had 3 catches on 6 targets for 76 yards. And we can sit there and we can look and say, okay, some of it was bad quarterback play. Okay, yeah. But some of it you've got to attribute to his inability to do what? Get open. You know, you see he had a touchdown against the Bengals last year, and this is not a bad defense. So you have to know this guy's capable of stepping his game up to another level. The question is he going to be able to do it? Is he going to be able to do those things that he was able to do at LSU? And if you've got a guy like a DJ Chark, and if you can get Mingo to become that quality number 2, and Terrace Marshall can be like he was at LSU, the kind of the odd guy out that everybody kind of forgets about, like when they had LSU had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, and he was that kind of that guy that everybody just kind of said, we'll just match you up against what's left over. And this guy can hurt you. You know, he reminds me a lot of Tyler Boyd, you know, for Cincinnati. This guy can hurt you because you have such dangerous guys that you have to pay attention to. This is a guy you kind of sleep on. You snooze on him. But he's not a little guy you want to snooze on. You know, you don't want to snooze on the second round pick out of LSU. But I think Terrace Marshall can turn it around. I honestly believe with Thomas Brown, I think Thomas Brown can turn it around. But he's gonna need to do some things with these wide receivers and the tight ends, which we'll talk about in another video, because you guys already know, if you watched any of my previous videos, who I have a soft spot for. But let's move on to a guy who I really, really loved out of the 2020 draft, and he slipped out of the first round. I loved him ever since I watched him his sophomore season out of Colorado, and that's Laviska Shenault Jr. Many of you may not know his story, but I'll do a video on that. It's very sad and very uplifting as well. But it's one of those good feely stories, but it's not so good feely right now for his NFL career, because he kind of got swallowed up in Jacksonville. He was asked to be a number 1. He's more of he and Jonathan Mingo have a lot of the same skill set. When you look at these two guys, you see Laviska Shenault is 6'1", 225. And then when you go over and you look at Mingo, you look at him and you see, and he's the one I'm going to do last, because at the end of the day, you guys have already seen a video about Mingo, and as I said, I'm going to do him. But when you look at Laviska Shenault, you see a lot of Deebo Samuel in him, and that was kind of what I said in the initial draft video about Jonathan Mingo. Excuse me. Laviska Shenault is built in that same type of frame, if you will. You know, you look at him, he's 6'2", 225. Both of these guys are just, you know, freaks of nature. I mean, they are just so well put together. It's not even funny. But Laviska Shenault showed me something when I was so excited when this guy came here. And as soon as they put him on the field, they put him in that move. That they put him in motion. They fling it over there. He takes the thing to the house, 47 yards. And it was just, it was 67, excuse me. I was just, when I saw him break the plane like that, it was over. I knew it. And I thought the coordinators and coaches for our guys did not do enough job trying to get him the football in many different ways. I understand it's a mid-season acquisition. I get that. Having Shenault on this team is just going to be a nightmare for defenses, because here's the reality. The guy, he's caught only 148 balls. He only caught 27 last year because he was in between injury and learning our system. He caught 63 the previous year out of 100 targets for 619 yards. He caught 58 balls in his rookie campaign for 600 yards, but that was a slow start because he was trying to get himself acclimated to the offense. But what is most impressive about Laviska Shenault is what he does with the ball in his hands. He is so tough to bring down. And that's what I really enjoy about watching this guy with the ball. He is a joy to watch running the football. And what I think is going to make make him have such a great what I think Bryce Young is going to bring to the table is Bryce Young is able to find guys open. Now, what Shenault's going to have to be able to do, now his hands are somewhat suspect. Doesn't have the best hands on the team. I think I would probably say he's probably got the third, fourth best hands on the team. But when this guy gets the ball, there's no doubt this guy is a threat to take it to the house every single play. He has that kind of ability. And that was what was going to make him a first-round pick coming out of Colorado, was his ability to take the thing to the house on every single play. I think Bryce Young's going to be able to maximize that, and I think Thomas Brown is going to be able to maximize his abilities as well. Now we'll let's go move on to Shawn Smith. Shawn Smith is the only guy on this in this class, well, this group that I'm referring to as the top 6, that does not top 6'2". The rest of the guys on this list top 6'2". So getting the ball high won't be a problem for Bryce Young. He should not have a problem overthrowing these guys if he's in the general vicinity. I'm not saying he can't throw it 7 feet high, but what I'm saying is all of the guys that we've aforementioned are 6'2". And let's look at this Shawn Smith. Shawn Smith is a very shifty guy. He was picked out of the 6th round, of course you all know that, but he's 5'10", 190. After having what I called some really good moments year 1, he had some personal issues, but then came back this year and actually developed a pretty good relationship with Baker Mayfield via preseason. And he ended up with only 22 catches for just under 300 yards. But he had 52 targets. Some of these were drops. That was a problem that Marshall had as well. He had a problem with drops. Shenault had a few problems with drops when he got to Charlotte. But I think at the most part, Shawn Smith's problem is he hasn't been able to get open at times. A lot of those short, shallow routes are the ones that he's always been very, very good at, and those intermediate slants he's been very effective at. But I'm pretty sure that he's going to be working with Thomas Brown to try to see if he can't work his way out of that doghouse. Because right now, I would say he's the odd man out. I can't say for sure that he's the odd man out, but if I had to, be a gambling man, I would have to say Shawn Smith's the one guy out of these 6 guys that is not guaranteed to be on the roster come opening weekend. And it's a shame because he was given a chance by Matt Rule and even Ben McAdoo when he was here. So, hopefully they can, Thomas Brown can find a way, or maybe Frank Wright can figure out something. But he's a quick guy. He's a shifty guy. he can bring a lot in the gadget game. But we'll just have to see what Frank Wright decides. But let's move on to the last one before we talk about the rookie in the veteran, we'll call him the Yoda, Adam Thielen. Now, many of you Panther fans may know Adam Thielen. I don't know how you don't know this guy. He was an elite wide receiver. It kind of was the what I call Cooper Kupp 1.0, with Cooper Kupp being the 2.0 version of himself. You can look at these numbers and it's, you could have seen Adam Thielen coming. Look at 2017 when he had 91 receptions on 143 targets for 1,276 yards and 4 scores. And then the monster career year he had in 2018 when he had 113 receptions on 153 targets for almost 1,373 and 9 scores. And you're talking about a guy who hasn't, repeated those feats. Now, I was surprised to learn after he had his injury-plagued season in 2019 that he had 74, 67, and 70 catches, especially 70 grabs last year on 107 targets for 716. That doesn't surprise me considering how great Justin Jefferson was last year. He was something else. He was, for him to be an MVP candidate coming out of that wide receiver position, it did not surprise me. That Buffalo game was just sick. But we've got the Yoda here. I believe Adam Thielen is still got some wiggle. He doesn't have very much, at 32 years of age. By the time the season starts, he'll be 33. But he's 6'2", 195. He presents a really good target. He's a very sound route runner for Bryce Young. So if they can develop some kind of chemistry, that would be pretty darn impressive. More than likely, Thielen will compete for the 2, possibly the 3, possibly be that guy that is mentoring either Shawn Smith, Terrace Marshall, and the 4 after mentioned Jonathan Mingo. But for the most part, I think Adam Thielen's here for his experience. He's here for his knowledge, and he's going to help transition these younger receivers. I think that's what his job is going to be. He was quoted as saying that he's happy to be here. He doesn't see his career as being over. And that's great to know that he feels like he was happy to come along here and be a part of this. That's great. I mean, who knows? If anything we get from Adam Thielen on the field is going to be a bonus. Because I think, honestly, he's at the twilight. His job is to mentor. Now, I'm not saying he can't make a difference, but it's obvious when he was in Minnesota last year, he made catches sparingly. It was all about Justin Jefferson. But if he can get Terrace Marshall or even DJ Chark to a level of where he was and possibly get Mingo started on his career path, this would be a huge boost to our receiving core. But let's close this out with the rookie, the Rook, the guy I call Deebo number 2. It's amazing that you got 2 guys built the exact same way with the same type of mentality. The only difference is Shenault's not what you consider a deep threat. Mingo has been a deep threat. I love this guy as a second round pick. I do think we could have gotten him later. Rumor mill was that there were teams that were coming up to get this guy and that he was rising up the boards fast. Because you had a guy like Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma. These guys were super quick. And Mingo has I don't want to say this guy is not fast, but you have to look at what the rate of return on guys that are in the NFL draft that are playing wide receiver. You kind of have to look at what their projections are, what they think. Like you had guys that were running 4.3s, low 4.3s, 4.2s, and he ran a 4.46. That's not bad. That's actually pretty good. He had the ability to get behind defenders at Ole Miss. So I think he presents a hybrid effect, kind of like a Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel doesn't necessarily get behind you in a hurry, but the same thing with Mingo. You can't jam this guy at the line of scrimmage. You can try to jam this guy at the line, but it's not going to have much effect. You're going to be doing yourself an injustice. You want to slow him down, maybe throw off his timing, but you don't want to get beat because this guy can't get behind you. If you're not careful. There was some talk that his route running is not smooth, and of course, working with Bryce Young, you see Bryce Young has a notion to be able to do that. But I think this guy is going to be, if Laviska Shenault can't fill that his end of the bargain, then I already know Jonathan Mingo is going to be the guy on there, which would not surprise me if Thomas Brown and Frank Wright try to get this guy on the field ASAP. Let him be that guy that grows with Bryce Young, kind of like what T. Higgins and Joe Burrow did. You want your quarterback to have a reliable target. And I see a huge upside. And, of course, he's been endorsed by the great one, Steve Smith. We all know who that is. Arguably should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, but we'll take Sam Mills going to the Hall. I think you can look at what other people will grade our receiving core. I give our receiving core a B+ right now, based upon DJ Chark and Adam Thielen and the draft of Jonathan Mingo. I honestly think that Adam Thielen is going to bring this receiving core up to another level. And I think with Bryce Young's ability to intellectually work with another great coach in Thomas Brown along with Frank Wright, I think he's going to be able to get all of these guys in the right positions and get them to flourish this year. I see some great things out of our receiving core, you guys. I really do. We got speed. We got size. That size is killer, guys. Every one of our guys, except for Shawn Smith, has size. And they're strong. Well, Adam Thielen's got size, but he's not nearly as strong. But you've got guys that are strong. I'm telling you, guys, we have the ability. If we can block, and that's the other thing. I like our ability on the perimeter to be able to block. I really do. I think we're going to be able to run a lot of screens, a lot of, bubbles. And we're going to be able to block on the perimeter really well. You think you're going to have Jonathan Mingo, Laviska Shenault, and DJ Chark on the outside blocking if you get the edge. Oh my goodness, it's going to be amazing. But let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comments or hit me up on the Facebook or my Instagram. That's going to do it for us for this edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Check me out on Instagram at Misterceelow. If you have any ideas or suggestions or comments on the show, leave them at our Facebook page on Growlin' and Prowlin'. Make sure you like the video and subscribe on your way out. Until next time, this is Misterceelow. Keep prowling the airwaves and growling out. Keep pounding!